Disney made a soccer movie that literally everyone forgot existed. And today, we're finally asking the question, is The Big Green actually good, or did it deserve to be buried in the Disney vault? This 1995 underdog story about misfit kids and terrible soccer skills has been collecting dust while other 90s classics get all the nostalgia love. But with The Big Green celebrating its 30th anniversary, we're dusting off this forgotten gem to see if it's a hidden treasure or if there's a very good reason it disappeared from movie history. Grab some orange slices and get ready for a match you never knew you needed to revisit as we watch another movie at Grandma's house. Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat and make yourself comfortable. I'm your host, Isaac. And while you're gone, who's handing out all those speeding tickets and scraping the dead animals off the highway? And who's with me to review the movie, The Big Green?
This is Seth. Well, I think she likes me.
Oh, welcome one and all to Grandma's house. Glad you stopped by. How are you doing, Seth?
I am doing wonderfully. How are you?
I'm doing great. This is a film that's just 90s oozing out of it. So we're going to get to this. I'm going to be excited to talk this over with you and get our thoughts together because I think this is one that people forgot about. Coming back to it is actually pretty interesting with modern eyes. But before we get down to it, this is your proper spoiler warning. So you at home, if you have not seen this movie, consider yourself warned going forward. So let's get right into it. Let's get to the film facts. This was released back on September 29th, 1995. It had a budget of $12 million. The box office, $17.7 million. Looking around at the reviews, there is IMDb sitting at a 5.5 out of 10. And this is a first on our show of the movies we have reviewed. Rotten Tomatoes is a 0%. Letterboxd, 2.7 out of 5. So interesting reviews as we look around there. But if you want to look at this for free, it is streaming on Disney+. It stars Steve Guttenberg, Olivia D'Abio, I'm going to butcher names like I always do, and J.O. Sanders. It is courtesy of Walt Disney Pictures and Buena Vista Pictures. Last but not least, we got to get to Granny's family-friendly rating. So what is that, Seth?
Granny's family-friendly rating for The Big Green is a B+ for adult themes and language.
That's it. Well, let's get down to this one because this is celebrating its 30th year. Crazy. I mean, 90s just feels like yesterday to me, but we're just coming up on 30-year anniversaries constantly, and this is one of them. So I'm interested to hear, what are some of your first memories with this film?
So I feel like I may have seen this 28 or 29 years ago, but not sure if I saw it all the way through. So it was pretty fresh.
Nice. I don't recall anything really about this film, like when seeing it back then. And the only thing I can picture is just the VHS. It was everywhere. Like if it was the rental store, if it was at someone's house even, I can recall some friend's house had it on their shelf. But just no memory. I'm sure I saw it. I just can't tell you anything about it.
Yeah.
Going back to that. So this was just like you, kind of fresh. Like, okay, I can tell you the commercials. I remember ads for this thing, but other than that, it was all new to me. So with that in mind, it's kind of interesting. Both have interesting takes on it, but what was your expectation going on the maybe first watch?
So I figured I was going to laugh with this one. So that was kind of my expectations. Was just, I thought there was going to be a lot of humor if I remembered it correctly. And yeah, so that was all I had really expected out of this one.
Gotcha. I was just wanting to have a good time, kind of like you, and also see if this is a film that it felt like that movie definitely for kids. It was soccer because it seemed like kids had some kind of soccer league they were in. So this appealed to them. That's what I was hoping for. And with my kids, that's something maybe they like and has some of the humor. There's some familiar faces as well. We'll get into it more. But that's what I was kind of excited to see was those actors and so on. Well, before we get to our plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsor. Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. Let's take the VHS out of the cover, let's put it in the VCR, and press play.
In a small town in Texas, we find a class of kids disinterested in learning till the new teacher, a foreign exchange teacher, teaches them how to play soccer. Soon, they start competing, building relationships, and learn to use their individual talents to help others. It's a hilarious 90s classic with tons of nostalgia. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this adorable sports movie at Grandma's house.
There it is, folks. This is interesting, just takes you back in time. Immediately, there's a Cheetos bag in the opening scene where they pour Cheetos on each other, and I was like, that's the Cheeto bag from the 90s. They've changed so much. So that's what this movie has. Like, when you're watching it, I don't know, it immediately did that to me. That was kind of my impression. Like, all right, we literally just went back in time, and we are back in the 90s. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts. What's your first impressions as you watch the film?
So my first impressions were, I was worried it was going to be extremely dated. However, I was pleasantly surprised that it held up very well. I will say this is a nostalgia-filled movie. A time capsule is perfect to describe this one. It does give you that heavy 90s feel when you do watch it.
For sure. I mean, this has Steve Guttenberg in it, for crying out loud. He's kind of the definition of more kind of 80s, but 90s. He was that guy. And this is kind of the character he plays in it. We'll get to the characters, I'm sure, but yeah, just that's what hit me too. Like, oh, look, Steve Guttenberg. This is definitely a 90s film. That hit me right away. So I do have kind of, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I have an interesting experience with this movie.
Okay.
When I'm watching it. So I want to say the first part of this movie felt completely different from the third act. And what I mean by that is like the quality, surprisingly. Like the sound was really bad. I don't normally say that. Like oh, it's just a minor flaw, but they're sitting in the classroom and they're talking and it sounded like they were way across the room. Maybe that was intentional, but to me, it felt like it was poor quality. And the shots and stuff, it was just like the first part, maybe the first third of the movie. It felt really cheap. I don't know. Did you get that sense at all?
I didn't really notice it, but now that you say it, I kind of can bring back that to my brain. Like, yeah, I think it was kind of a little, not as great as the rest of the film.
I don't
Quality wise.
Yeah, it's just weird because I'm watching and I'm like, okay, I brought up it reminded me of VHS. And I thought to myself, was this like a direct to VHS kind of a movie, but they still released it? Because the quality at the beginning, I got those vibes. Maybe I was reading a little too much into it. I need to turn my brain off. This is just being silly. But I could tell a difference by like the third act. It felt like an actual movie. Like it was more polished, the sound, and even the acting was a little bit better. I think maybe they shot this in order. Maybe I'm not going to say anymore if that's a fun fact, but if you shoot that in order, maybe that chemistry isn't quite there with the actors. It just felt kind of rough, I guess. It was a rough start to this movie, but it did, by the third act, I was like, okay, here we go. This is feeling a little more at home. So that's a little knock I have on this one. Maybe, again, it's just something I picked up on and it was some kind of intentional. They're trying to make it rough around the edges, just like the kids are kind of rough around the edges and then they're polished by the end. I mean, that's some awesome foreshadowing, I think, if they did that on purpose, but it felt more like it just happened. I don't know.
So now that you say that, it's bringing back memories of other like lower budgeted Disney movies. And I'm thinking like a lot of them do have really bad audio quality in several parts.
That's true. So maybe that was just the way it was, and I just happened to notice it. So I didn't notice it in the other films. I was just so blinded by nostalgia and going back to, I don't really remember this one. So maybe that is a good point. You notice the flaws more when you don't have the nostalgic goggles on, so to say. But it was just an interesting experience for me because I was like, wow, this is actually not what I was expecting. But I was relieved to see it was much more polished towards the end. But we got to go to the plot overall. What did you think of the plot of this idea of a bunch of kids that aren't very good at soccer and kind of has that underdog story?
So I thought the plot was really simple, but it worked. And I really enjoyed the story and the growth of the characters. We see this class and they just don't want to do anything. Like, it's like they have no interest in anything. And then the teacher comes along and just like brings life to the kids. And I really liked the chemistry between the teacher and the kids. It was really nice.
It got really good there, I would say, once it starts clicking. Because, again, I go back to rough around the edges, and that's the part of the film. It's trying to show that character arc for really all the kids and even the teacher. But I did find another knock on it, I'll say, is it was a little awkward. Did I miss something of why they're playing soccer? Because she just said, okay, we're going to play soccer now. And then it was just kind of introduced. Or did I miss something that was leading up to that?
So she came in one day and they were slacking off and not doing anything. And she's like, well, I know what I can get their attention with. And she starts playing with the ball or whatever.
Okay.
And so they just loved it, seeing her play with the ball. So they were all in once they saw that.
Okay. It was just a little awkward because it was just like, okay. And then
I thought it was awkward too. Yeah. I did get a little bit, not annoyed, but you know what I mean? Like bothered by it.
Just not realistic. And again, this is a movie. So we got to tamper your expectations a little bit, but it was still just out of left field. Like, so we're going to play soccer. And it was just kind of like, okay. And then they're out on the field. And it's like,
they're expert soccer players. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I thought it was going to go that way, honestly. That's why it was so awkward. It's just like, you know what? Anybody can play soccer. Let's do it, guys. And then,
oh my goodness,
they're on the practice field, and Steve Guttenberg's character, he's the name, like, town cop or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's got a crush on her, obviously, from a mile away. Even the kids tease him about it, but he's there, and he's just like, well, the kids don't look too good now. And she's like, well, I've entered them into a league, and you start tomorrow. It was just like, what? This is so awkward. And that kind of goes back to that rough. It just started out really rough. So that is a knock on the plot, but it's a great, I felt good, like, once the town starts rallying around them. And that's where I was like, okay, it's starting to pick up a little bit. So I do wish they would have done the intro a little bit better. It can be rough because that's obviously the point of the characters. But that transition of how they get there, it was just kind of like they shrugged and said, I don't know, let's just start playing soccer.
So I didn't know. You said $12 million for the budget. This definitely does not meet $12 million. I don't know where they spent that money at. It's not a bad movie. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, the quality of the film is not $12 million worth back in 95.
Yeah.
That's obvious. I mean,
it had to be advertising because I can tell you how many times I saw the commercials, and
it's true.
I think they were really pushing the VHS. They must have done something in the ad campaign, and that's kind of sad. Maybe you spent the half the budget or bulk of it and advertising. I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, going back to the characters, I mean, what are some of the characters that kind of stick out to you? Kind of mentioned Steve Guttenberg, but what else do you think of?
Yeah, I don't want to sound generic, but all the characters were great, and they added to the story progression, and they were full of laughs. I mean, every single character in this movie made me laugh. So that was cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of familiar faces there. You obviously have actor who played Ham and Squints from the Sandlot. I mean, they were kind of front and center. I think they were riding that tide of, Sandlot was popular. So obviously you put those front and center. But we also did the movie Camp Nowhere, and the girl from that, and Ajax, give another shout out to him. He was who reviewed it with me. And we made that joke about Camp Nowhere, how her thing was like, she was fat and she lose weight. She looks exactly the same in this movie. That's how she was. That just still bothers me. So I'm watching this, I'm like, so they were saying she was fat in Camp Nowhere. Like, that bothered me for some reason, but I thought she was great. She had some...
That's so 90s though. Like, back then, that's kind of the way it was. I mean, girls have always gotten tortured, especially in the 90s, I feel.
And so dumb. That's one thing I'm like, I'm glad that's kind of it. You don't see it as much. I'm here, I'm sitting like it's done, but unfortunately it still happens, but not as much, it feels like. That's something that can stay in the 90s. I just shook my head about it, but I feel like she had a good character arc. She was kind of one of those really disinterested. Her dad is kind of also not interested, just kind of giving up on her. But then soccer clicks. And that's what the story does. It kind of gives a good moral of just kids might have the appearance of they don't have any hope, so to say. They're a lost cause. Sometimes kids just need direction. They need to have some kind of interest, something they excel at. And obviously on first watch of how they are, well, they probably have no hope in soccer, but that's what makes this a great underdog story is they overcome that. So that's what I really liked about the story. And again, going back to the characters, I agree with you. I like the kind of running gag, and it's is it Stanley? I'm just gonna keep calling him Ham. He just is always Ham to me because it's the Sandlot. But
Yeah.
I think his name was Stanley. But that ongoing, he's like freaked out. He always sees something. Like at one point it was pirates. One time it was some like Roman soldiers or something. I can't remember all of them. There was numerous of them, but that was a funny thing because that kind of captures that childhood. Like when you're in a sports, you're just so intense and overwhelmed. Did you think they did a good job on that, kind of capturing like being a child and playing sports?
Well, and then on top of that, like what you were saying about the dream sequences, like when he's dreaming, like his fears, I really like when people can capture like a dream sequence in a way that looks kind of real. And I thought they did that pretty well. Like that worked in my book.
Yeah. It just gave me like that, I don't know, I played baseball growing up and there's just that overwhelming sense. And that's what it kind of feels like, as silly as it might seem. It just has that overwhelming aspect to it. And it's so 90s how it's done. Like just the silliness of it, of these like different characters, of different monsters, whatever they are, coming at him. But you can't help it. If you like these kind of movies of just having an underdog sense, it has a great payoff where now he's the one that intimidates the one doing the penalty kick. I like that part too. So that was kind of the highlight for me. Was I think they did a good job of all the characters having their arc. Juan was one of my favorites, obviously, because he was an interesting character as well. He was the one that was actually good at soccer. And I did catch, like, at one point he's running and there's a wide shot. He looked like he was like 15 and the other kids are 8 years old. Did you see that?
Yes. Yes.
So it does have that whole like dynamic of being a foreigner. Like, did he lie on his birth certificate to get into this?
Oh, no.
Like, I don't know. It was like, it looked off to me. I was like, that's a little bit, but I still liked his character. I thought he was good and he was a central part of the plot. Obviously, he has the other kids rally around him and so on and so forth. But yeah, open up to you. Anything else?
I think my favorite part of the movie was probably the scene. Okay, so my favorite part of the movie was when the goat kicked the ball.
Oh,
but yeah. My favorite part of like the scene was probably when all the parents started to join them in the rain, playing about like the soccer in the rain. I just thought that was really well shot for 95, or probably not shot in 94, I guess. That really played well, and they did a good job. Like that was a lot of fun, and it just brought everybody together, and they just kind of like was carefree, and I just really like that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, the goat's another like funny touch to it as well.
Yes.
Kind of that silly character mascot that's there. But yeah, I think the only thing I could bring out is I think it's definitely for kids, so I can't knock it. But as an adult, I guess I don't like those like sped up part. They aren't the only movies that do that. If you watch a lot of movies from the 90s, they do that. But it's so dated. I guess that's the best way to put it now. When I see it, I'm like, oh man, this is so dated. So it kind of took me out at times on that. I wish they didn't do that. But again, that was a sign of the times of just 90s. That's how they were trying to convey the silliness. And obviously kids love that kind of stuff. So I guess I'm complaining for nothing. What am I complaining about? This is a kid's movie, but I guess from going back to my experience, that was kind of the part of the rocky part of like the beginning. I noticed it didn't do it as much. Again, maybe that's part of the polish. It didn't have it quite as much later on in the film too. Mm-hmm. So, well, I'm interested to hear what kind of fun facts do you got?
So the first one is not only is this the directorial debut of Holly Goldberg Sloan, this is also the first live action Disney movie to be directed by a woman. So I thought that was a really cool thing. This is the 154th live action film produced by Disney. That's pretty amazing. If you think about it, yes. And that has been 95. So I wonder how many they've done now. Like that's wow.
Yeah. That's incredible. Wow.
Another one is if you look closely at the team billboard at the end of the movie, which I did, it fully reads Elma, home of the Big Green Junior Division Soccer Champions. If you look beside that heading, it reads the 4th best test scores in the state, which I thought was really a funny touch to put on. That was pretty cool.
I like that.
And I guess it's time for a fun fact trivia question. Are you ready?
I'm ready as I'll ever be. Let's see how I do this time.
So true or false, at the junkyard, the sheriff, Tom, asks Newt if he'd like to join the soccer team. When he tells Newt there's a game right now, he mouths the word tomorrow instead.
Got a tricky one there. Okay. I'm trying to recall that scene now. It's going back. I'm hitting the rewind. Let me get the VHS to rewind here. I'm gonna just go with my gut. I'm gonna say false.
Oh man, it's true. So I kind of caught it when I watched it, and then I found a thing on it, and then on top of that, I went back and rewatched it again just to make sure it was true. And he definitely mouths the word tomorrow.
I didn't.
And he says there's a game right now, but then it's dubbed over top of it's a ADR, and he mouths the word tomorrow instead. So it was true. I apologize for not throwing up a softball.
I just need to get better at trivia. That's what keeps telling me.
I think I'm writing them too well. That's
a good one. I like that. I like that one. Keep it up. That was a really good one. I just don't recall that. I guess I wasn't paying as much attention as I should have been. That's what it's
about the 20-minute mark, I think. I thought it was right at the beginning of the movie, but it's like the 20-minute mark.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. So that's a good one.
Pretty fun. It's pretty funny. Like he's like, there's a game right now and it's tomorrow.
I'll have to check that out for sure. Well, I'll just try to get it next time. So it's all good. Again, it goes back to, I just need to get better at trivia. All right. Well, before we get to our review, we like to look around the net, just see what kind of reviews are out there. So Seth, what are you seeing?
So our first review is Inkblot 11 says, this film is a big winner in the fun with lessons category, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with that. It does have a good, feel-good story, feel-good lessons, morals, and that's what it's promoting in this film. So, I mean, you got to love that for a kid's movie.
Yeah. So Dockery Kelly said, such a wonderful family-friendly movie to enjoy, 10 out of 10.
Wow, really liked it, 10 out of 10. And yeah, it's pretty family-friendly for the most part. Like we mentioned, Granny's family rating, it's got, a few things, but it's on the milder side. So I agree with that. Might just be a few things, but 10 out of 10, they must really like soccer, I would think too.
So our last one is Sieg 1508 says, a great uplifting 90s classic, 10 out of 10.
Wow, another 10. Wow. I think this hits hard for people in nostalgia too. Because like I said, there's a lot of VHS out there. So wow, 10 out of 10. I think if you know what you're getting into, that's not surprising for sure. Because this is a kid's movie, again, like we mentioned. I think all in the family should enjoy this one. So, well, let's get down to it. So, for the movie The Big Green, I'm going to start with you, Seth, as always. How are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at Grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the...
So personally, I will watch this at Grandma's. I would have taken it home, but I don't see rewatching it over and over. But I did really enjoy this one.
Very nice. Yeah, I'll have a confession to make. Like, when I was first watching this movie, I was like, my goodness, this might be a hide it in the attic, and I'm going to tick people off because you have, like you said, so many people. I gave it 10 out of 10. That's my memories of just this movie was everywhere. It was more of a home video, home rental. And for whatever reason, I don't recall us renting this movie. I guess I wasn't into soccer as much and whatever it was, but that I can see. However, I go back to it picks up at least maybe halfway to 2/3 of the way in. I think it is much more polished. I will say it's pushing for me closer to the attic because of that. I don't feel like it's a complete movie. It's needs a little more polish there at the beginning. But the third act, if you like sports movies, if you like that family-friendly movie, you're going to have a good time, especially with the third act, I think. I think as a whole, you might have a different experience than me. Maybe I'm just reading into things too much. So I will watch this at Grandma's. It was a close call. I'm going to say it was like a photo finish. Like by the end of the movie, the credits are rolling. I'm like, okay, I feel pretty good. But it got me worried, I'm going to admit, because I was hearing a lot about it. And maybe I need to take the hype out of things next time. But I'll look forward to revisiting this one. I'm interested to see what my next watch will be like.
So I've got a couple things to say real quick.
Go for it.
So as an overview, it's a pretty cute movie with loads of nostalgia. I was glued to find out what was going to happen at the end. So I was into the ending, like you had mentioned. It kind of turned around a little bit. And then also I had a quote, just one quote. So he goes, "Man, where'd you learn to do that?" And she goes, "Prison." I love that line. I'm sorry I had to put that in there.
I chuckled at that one. That was great. There was some that's a good way to put it. It's like got some cute humor to it. And that's one of them. That one was really clever, I thought, of just throwing that in there. And I mean, it's again, going back to something the whole family can enjoy. I really like that about this movie. You shouldn't have any worries as far as maybe just a little bit of language, but it's very mild. It's nothing that a lot of 90s films did. I do find it surprising. We didn't really touch on it, but the review on Rotten Tomatoes, 0%. So maybe this is teaching us I'm going more of the critic side because that's how they felt about it. So I feel very good about having that rating then. I'll probably revisit this at some point, but I'm with you. It's not one I'm going to watch a lot of.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah, it might make its way up a little bit. It's just one of those nice, maybe I'll revisit it again.
I want to revisit as well. I don't think I'll be doing it tomorrow is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's a solid family movie again. I give it props for that. They did a really good job of that. That's what you want as a wholesome movie. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Comment below if you've seen this movie, if you've had a similar experience. I'm interested. Maybe is it just me that I thought that, but we'd love to hear from you, or you have a different kind of experience. Be sure to comment below and leave your thoughts there as well. We did it, Seth. Another movie in the books. The Big Green. It's celebrating 30 years. I don't know what to say to that because, again, it feels like the 90s was yesterday. Take me back to a Blockbuster and seeing that on the shelf that you can rent, that stuff. Just kind of shake my head about it. But before we wrap things up, Seth, why don't you tell the good people where they can find and connect with us?
So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We're at moviesatgrandmashouse@gmail.com. We have a newsletter, so keep up to date all things Movies at Grandma's House. We're on Patreon, and go to movieposters.com and type in Grandma's House at checkout for 15% off.
There you go. Yeah, be sure to drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on any nostalgia, any memories that you have with this film, or others that we've considered or that are upcoming. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Well, that's going to do it for now. But don't worry, we will be back to Grandma's house soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.